The next exercise, the gastroc SMR, which is a foam rolling session through the entirety of the calf musculature. So Ben is going to place the foam roller perpendicular to his legs, and he's going to lift his hips up off the ground. He's going to roll through the entirety of the calf from the heel or the Achilles tendon area all the way up until underneath the knee. When he finds a tender spot, he's going to stop right on that area. He's going to hold it for 30 to 90 seconds until he feels like that discomfort is diminished. To make this a little bit more intense, Ben's going to cross one leg over the other. This is going to allow more focus to one specific area. He's going to roll through, find that most tender area, and again hold it for 30 to 90 seconds. The next position is the quadriceps SMR. Ben is going to place the foam roller underneath his quadriceps, allowing both of his legs to be on the foam roller. He's going to begin rolling through the entirety of the quadricep muscle from the top of the knees all the way up until the pelvis. He's going to find the most tender spot, and he's going to sit on that for 30 to 90 seconds. To make this a little bit more intense, if you're not feeling anything, Ben's going to slide the foam roller to one side and allow just one leg to support the majority of his weight. Noticing he's balancing his weight through his arms, his left toe, and his right thigh. He's going to do the same exact roll all the way to the top of the knee, and you can rotate slightly all the way to the pelvis, find the most tender spot, and sit on that for 30 to 90 seconds. The next position is the tensor fascia latae, or TFL. So Ben's going to point out the TFL is the upper third of the thigh. If there was a corner to your thigh, this would make it up. So what Ben's going to do is he's going to roll over onto his side. You can see that he's slightly angled towards the foam roller, and he's only moving probably 3-4 inches at most. For most people, this will be an incredibly tender area. And the rationale to working on this one is to decrease a small muscle that actually attaches to the iliotibial band that runs the side of the leg. The next exercise is IT band SMR. So Ben is going to put the foam roller perpendicular underneath the side of his thigh. He's going to brace himself, keeping his core stable, and placing his weight on his opposing forearm. He's going to proceed to roll from the hip all the way down to the bottom of the knee. To progress this and make it a little bit more difficult, he's going to lift that right foot up off the ground and stack his legs on the foam roller, putting more of his body weight directly on that tender spot. Remember to hold for 30 to 90 seconds on the most tender location. If you're having difficulty with this and this feels just way too intense, grab a second foam roller and you're going to stack it underneath. You're basically going to be displacing more of your weight across two surfaces. This will directly diminish the impact and the intensity and allow you to foam roll so that you can maintain a tenderness of less than 7 out of 10. The next exercise is adductor SMR. So Ben is going to place the foam roller parallel to his trunk. He's going to lift up his right leg, bring it up to about 90 degrees, and allow the inner thigh to rest on the foam roller. He's going to begin rolling from the knee, go all the way into the groin as far as you can, looking for the most tender spot. When you find that tender spot, you're going to sit on it for 30 to 90 seconds. The next exercise is piriformis SMR. Ben's going to sit directly on the foam roller. He's going to lean to one side, and he's going to roll the side of his gluteal muscles. It directly actually works a deeper muscle called the piriformis, and that's why it's named such. But Ben is going to roll through, it's just a few inches below his hip and above his hip. So you should actually feel your pelvis roll down the foam roller and then roll back up the foam roller. To intensify this, Ben's going to take that same leg that he's rolling and cross it over his other leg. This is putting the hip on stretch, and this will intensify this exercise. To further intensify that, Ben is going to pull his knee in towards his opposite chest, and he's going to continue to roll. Again, you're going to hold this position on the most tender spot for 30 to 90 seconds. The next exercise is the latissimus dorsi SMR. Ben is going to place the foam roller perpendicular across his body underneath his armpit. He's going to extend his arm as high as he can. He's going to hold his thumb up towards the ceiling. And he's going to roll approximately 3 to 4 inches from the armpit down the side of the rib cage. Do not roll below that or roll onto your ribs, as that may cause a potential injury. Stay on the tissue right under the armpit. Roll through, find the most tender spot, sit on it for 30 to 90 seconds. The next exercise is the dorsiflexion closed chain stretch. Ben's going to maintain or hold that half kneeling position. He's going to keep his foot flat on the ground. He's going to shift his weight forward, allowing the ankle to flex. You're basically trying to close the angle between your foot and the shin bone or the tibia. You want to keep your heel on the ground as much as possible, so make certain to not let the heel lift off the floor. If you're wearing a shoe that has a high heel that typically is found in running shoes, you may want to do this exercise barefoot. He's going to hold this stretch for 30 to 90 seconds, repeating 1 to 2 times on each leg. The next exercise is hamstring lower lying. Ben's going to take one leg, bend his knee, and raise it up in the air. Clasp his hands around his thigh. He's going to pull his thigh towards his chest and then extend his knee all the way up as high as he can until he feels a stretch in his hamstring. He's going to hold this position for 30 to 90 seconds, and he's going to repeat 1 to 2 times on each side. The next exercise is the lat kneeling stretch. From quadruped position, you're going to sit back on your heels and allow your arms to reach out in front of you, keeping your chest as close to the ground as you can. Ben's going to reach out one arm in particular at a time, and he's going to find the point of resistance in his latissimus dorsi underneath his arm. He's going to lift the back of his hip up slightly once he finds that position to intensify the stretch. You're going to hold this stretch for 30 to 90 seconds, doing it 2 times on each side. The next exercise is the hip flexor kneeling stretch. Ben is going to begin by kneeling, and he's going to lift one foot in front of him into the half kneel position. Keeping his hands on the foam roller, Ben is going to squeeze the gluteal of the leg that's down. He wants to keep his leg at approximately 90 degrees, so he's a straight line from his shoulder to his knee, driving that pelvis just slightly forward. To intensify this, he's going to raise his arm up overhead, reaching towards the ceiling. To intensify this slightly further, he's going to lean towards the opposing side. Maintaining that gluteal contraction in that hip is going to stretch your hip flexor group. Hold this stretch for 30 to 90 seconds and repeat 1 to 2 times on each side. With our first position, chest supine on foam roller, Ben is actually going to lie down supine on the actual foam roller. The foam roller is vertical, the full duration of his spine, and he's lying with his palms facing the ceiling, allowing his shoulder blades to relax behind him, stretching out his chest.